must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
A very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Diaspora Dispatches, where I get to bring you the latest news from across the continent. My name is Miriam Ogutu, and of course, today being a Monday, we do have so much in store for you today. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you are tuned in today. And we shall start with Nigeria. And the leader of the Nigerian militant group Boko Haram, Abubakar Shekau, has killed himself, rival Islamist militants said in an audio recording. In an audio obtained by news agencies, the Islamic State of West African province, ISWAP, said Shekau died detonating explosives on himself after a battle between the two groups. Shekau was reported dead last month and has been reported killed before. Neither Boko Haram nor the Nigerian government have confirmed his death. In the undated audio recording, a voice thought to be that of ISWAP leader Abu Musab al-Batnawi said Shekau killed himself instantly by detonating an explosive. ISWAP fighters hunted down the warlord and offered him the chance to repent and join them. Al-Bahari is hard to be saying. When reports of Shekau's death in a clash circulated last month, the Nigerian army said it would investigate. He has been reported dead numerous times before, only to resurface much later. And then we head over to Somaliland, and the two opposition parties in the self-declared Republic of Somaliland have won the majority of the seats in last week's parliamentary elections. The Somaliland National Party, Wadani, won 31 seats, while the Justice and Welfare Party, USAID, collected 21 seats. The region's electoral commission has said the ruling Kumie party managed to secure about 30 of the 82 seats in the polls. The opposition win is a major blow to Kumie, which will now lose the speaker seat, among other parliamentary leadership seats, reports the Garowe online news website. The new parliament will have no women, as none of the female politicians who ran in the elections won their races. The breakaway republic, which lies in the coast of the Gulf of Aden, has not been recognized internationally since its declared unilateral independence from the rest of Somalia in 1991. It has held a number of elections successfully. And then we go to Zambia, and Zambian Police Chief Kakoma Kaganja has denied reports that the country's security forces fired on a convoy carrying opposition presidential candidate Hakainde Hichilema amid a tense atmosphere ahead of the 12th August general election. The local media reported on Sunday that Mr. Hichilema's convoy was fired at by police in the northern city of Chingola on its way to a local church. Zambia's police boss denied the report, saying at no point did the police fire live ammunition at the opposition leader's supporters. The government has banned public gatherings and political rallies, with President Edgar Lungu saying the restrictions are necessary to combat COVID-19. The opposition, however, believes the bans are a ploy by the incumbent to maintain his grip on power. We head over to Mali, and Colonel Assimi Goita is being sworn in as Mali's interim president today. It's a fortnight since he removed the transitional president and prime minister in a coup, the second he's engineered in 9 months. Last week, leaders of the West African bloc ECOWAS joined the African Union in suspending Mali's membership, calling on the military government to adhere to an 18-month transition towards presidential elections in February next year. France and other Western powers also want a return to civilian rule. Mali is key to the stability of the Sahel region that's beset by a jihadist insurgency. And then we go to Uganda, and Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni has shut down schools and suspended public gatherings as the country faces a surge of infections in a second COVID-19 wave. Public transport between districts will be banned starting Thursday to allow students who are in schools to return home. Bars, cinemas and theatres have also been closed. The suspension of schools and gatherings takes effect from Monday and will be in place for 42 days. Dozens of schools have reported virus cases among staff and students, prompting the closure. The announcement came hours after the Health Ministry announced 1,259 new cases of coronavirus, the highest number of infections recorded in a single day, and they also recorded 9 deaths on Sunday. Head over to Sudan, and at least 36 people have been killed and dozens wounded after clashes between Arab and non-Arab tribes in South Darfur over the weekend. The fighting broke out on Saturday between the Arab Taisha and ethnic African Falata tribes in the remote Darfur area of South Darfur. Witnesses said official news agency SUNA said calm was restored by today. It was not immediately clear what triggered the clashes, but similar fighting often erupts in the Darfur region over land and access to water. And then we go to Burkina Faso. Gunmen have killed at least 132 people in Burkina Faso's volatile north, the government has said, as the United Nations chief condemned the heinous act and called on countries to step up the fight against violent extremism. The assailants struck during the night on Friday, killing residents of the village of Solhan in the Yaga province, which borders Niger. They also burned homes and the village market, according to a government statement on Saturday. And then we head back to Nigeria. Attackers killed 88 people in Nigeria's Kebbi state last week on Thursday, spurring its governor to pledge a bigger deployment of security forces yesterday. As insecurity spreads largely unchecked through the country's northwest, perpetrators swept through 8 villages, killing people and sending residents fleeing, police said, giving a death toll of 88. Details began to emerge on Saturday. A spokesperson for Kebbi Governor Abubakar Bugadu said on Sunday the attackers had come from neighboring Niger and Zamfara states, rustling cattle and destroying crops. Gunmen have ramped up attacks on the region's community in recent years, forcing thousands to flee across Nigeria's northern border to Niger. The attackers have become globally notorious because of mass kidnappings at schools, with more than 800 students abducted since December. And then we go to another troubled place in Cameroon, and female Cameroonian activists and opposition members have appealed to the United Nations Security Council meeting today to discuss possible solutions to escalating Boko Haram terrorism and separatist crisis in the Central African state. They are also asking the UN to force Cameroon to respect human rights, release prisoners, and negotiate a ceasefire with the armed groups. The government has refused to respond to their appeal. 20 female leaders say in a letter to the United Nations Security Council that Cameroon, once the bastion of stability in Central Africa, is today conflict-ridden and on the brink of catastrophe. They say that more than 10,000 Cameroonians have died in the Boko Haram conflict on Cameroon's northern border with Nigeria and the separatist crisis in the Central African states' English-speaking western regions. They accuse Cameroonian government and rebels of gross human rights violations. And then we head back to Nigeria. Apparently today will be in Nigeria a lot. And the National Broadcasting Commission has directed all broadcast stations in the country to suspend the patronage of Twitter with immediate effect. The NBC said the decision followed the suspension of Twitter operations in Nigeria by the federal government over the persistent use of the platform for activities that are capable of undermining the corporate existence of Nigeria. The Commission directed the broadcast stations to deinstall Twitter handles and desist from using Twitter as a source of information gathering for news and programs presentation, especially phone-in. The acting Director General of NBC, Professor Armstrong Ida Chaba, issued a directive in a statement on Monday titled "Suspend Twitter Handles." He continued to say, and I'll just quote that statement, that consequent on the suspension of Twitter operations in Nigeria by the federal government over the persistent use of the platform for activities that are capable of undermining the corporate existence of Nigeria, the National Broadcasting Commission directs all broadcasting stations in Nigeria to suspend the patronage of Twitter immediately. Okay. And then we head over to Rwanda, and a sense of normalcy is returning to a Rwandan district ravaged by volcanic activity in the Democratic Republic of Congo. 2 weeks ago, the volcanic eruption in Mount Nyiragongo killed 32 people and destroyed hundreds of homes in DR Congo's Goma area. It was followed by a series of earth tremors in the neighboring regions, including Rubavu in Rwanda. Many residents fled after their homes and properties as well as infrastructure were destroyed in Rubavu. Businesses have now started reopening. Schools and hospitals, which had also been shut in the wake of the volcanic activities, have restarted operations. And then we conclude with Namibia. Namibia has said the deal agreed with Germany for 1.1 billion euros in aid following the colonial era genocide is not enough, but it would revisit and renegotiate as funding is rolled out. A week ago, Germany issued a long-awaited apology for the murder of tens of thousands of Herero and Nama people. The atrocities committed have been described by historians as the forgotten genocide of the early 20th century in what was known as the German Southwest Africa. Land and livestock were confiscated. Survivors were placed in concentration camps and exploited for labor, sometimes sexually assaulted, in some cases used for medical experimentation. The Germans' apology resulted from the first negotiations of their kind by a former colonial master. And that is the latest from the continent. Thank you so much, and a very good afternoon to you. Now, very quickly, I'd like us to look at this issue of Mali as we speak right now. Just a while ago, Colonel Assimi Goïta was just being sworn in as the interim president of Mali right now. And of course, after they removed Banto, who was reinstated after the, after they ousted former President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta last year in August, they put Bondo there and a prime minister. And so they went ahead and made a decision, reshuffle the cabinet, and that did not please, the army, a part of the transitional government. So they decided to remove this president. So another coup, essentially, in less than a year has taken place there in Mali. So right now, Colonel Assimi Goïta has been sworn in as the president, the leader of Mali. And as we know, maybe I should remind us that last week ECOWAS suspended Mali from that bloc, and also African Union followed with its suspension of Mali from that from the African Union. And so I've not heard or read whether, because I was just watching that news before I came here, whether Goïta was able to relinquish his position as a military person and stepped down from the military to become a civilian president. I've not seen that happen. And so that means because they've decided to go ahead and make this kind of decision, that means that Mali cannot be in the African Union because I will remind us again, as long as you're led by a military in any country here in the continent, you cannot be a member of the African Union. So essentially, as we speak, Mali is not. It was suspended last week, and the suspension, I think, will continue to be in place until they get a civilian, a leader or president or just a head of state there in Mali. But what is really interesting about this Mali, even as, I think it gets more complicated, as we've seen a country like France, which has been one of the key partners with Mali, especially when it comes to the fight against terrorism in the Sahel region, has been opposed to this military rule, which I find to be very interesting because remember, the president of Chad, Idriss Déby, that was killed a few weeks ago, remember, he was murdered, and his son, who is a military man, okay, Déby's son, is now the president of Chad. And Déby's son is still a military man. So he did not step down for the military, so he continues to rule that country as a military man. And even President of France, Emmanuel Macron, attended, the burial, of course, of Déby, and has been in support of Déby's son being the president of Chad, despite the fact that he is a military person. But what I find to be quite interesting, and this is not to plead a case for any of these countries, because I think both are a mess, but the double standards here that we see being obviously displayed by a country like France and the European Union and other countries out there who are castigating what we see happening now in Mali. It's very glaring because they supported the transition in Chad all right, that went against the constitution in Chad. If anything, after President Idris Deby was murdered, the person who was supposed to take over in Chad was supposed to be the Speaker of the National Assembly. That did not happen. They went straight and installed Deby's son to be the president of Chad. Never mind, he never stepped out. He never stepped from being a military person. So now Goita maybe sat down and thought, you know what? Well, it's working very well in Chad. So why not? We could just replicate this here in Mali, just remove this president who's not doing what we want him to do. And just we will have a military, president in Mali. But we've seen France come out and castigating General Goita for this. And he's saying, no, you cannot do this. And yet they support the same thing that is happening in Chad. So a case of double standards there, I guess, but still this will continue to leave Mali out in the cold when it comes to the regional bloc of ECOWAS and African Union. So as I told you there earlier, Goita was just sworn in a couple of minutes ago as the new interim president there. Today, so I don't have a lot of details how long they're planning for him to be there as a president, because remember they had an 18-month transitional period when they were supposed to organize for elections where Malians could elect their leader. But I don't know with this new development if that will be the case, or they will decide otherwise, or Goita will just decide to just stay put and be the president there in Mali. So this is a developing story, and perhaps I'll come back tomorrow, God willing, with more details. All right, thank you. Also Uganda is experiencing its second wave of the coronavirus, and I think Uganda is one of the countries, especially in the continent, that have done very well in terms of curbing the spread of COVID-19. But I think after the elections, after the inaugurations, or I don't know, maybe after, has been a lot of laxity, because even when I go through the COVID-19 cases here during our morning shows, Uganda usually records a very low numbers compared to a lot of countries across, especially East Africa. I think Kenya has continued to have a high number. So I don't know what's going on in Tanzania, if at all they've started making the numbers there public. I'm not sure. I think I will check on Tanzania, but Uganda has done relatively well. But now there has been a surge, and right now they are facing the second wave. So it has forced President Museveni to announce that schools be shut and all public gatherings be suspended until to be in place, starting Thursday for 42 days, and so that they can try and curb the spread of COVID-19. So I think that is the right thing to do there in what do you call it, in Uganda, I think. All right, and the issue of Somaliland, they went to an election over the weekend, last week. They elected their leaders. They had a parliamentary election, and the opposition, majority of them were elected. They won majority of the seats there in Somaliland. All right. Okay, so now let's just get into what has become our normal conversation here, and that is the issue of Nigeria. And it has refused to go away. And remember, Nigeria banned Twitter in Nigeria. I think was it on Friday, after Twitter deleted a tweet by President Buhari, who was seen to be, threatening the people who were agitating for secession in Nigeria, and that will be the Biafrans. And so I was just watching some news, and I saw a hashtag I am Igbo. Was it I am Igbo? I am Igbo too trending. Okay, and so now Nigeria decides that it has banned Twitter. So what I found to be interesting. Okay, before we get into, okay, fine, let's just talk about this Twitter thing before we find out if at all this Boko Haram leader Abubakar Shekau is actually dead. Do you think he's dead? Because the government is not telling us exactly what is happening. But let's just look at this new ban, or this new threat by the National Broadcasting Commission. That is, I think, is the body that regulates media in Nigeria. And it came out today and put up a statement it put up a statement, and it has directed all broadcast stations in the country to suspend the patronage of Twitter with immediate effect. All right, with immediate effect in the country and the NBC, that is the National Broadcasting Commission, has said the decision followed the suspension of Twitter operations in Nigeria by the federal government over the persistent use of the platform for activities that are capable of undermining the corporate existence of Nigeria. This has to be the most ridiculous thing President Buhari will be remembered to have done during his term as the government of Nigeria. This does not make any sense at all. How does this make any sense? How are you going to ban a whole Twitter? Does he know how many people will be affected for this? Forget those who are in broadcasting and passing information that you're not very happy with. There are businesses that use Twitter as their lifeline that actually depend entirely on Twitter, to exist, the online businesses and things like that. And a lot of people, as we know, we are in a technological age, so a lot of things and a lot of people, a lot of businesses, a lot of name it, depend on platforms like Twitter. And we see Nigeria is not an exception. We see a lot of businesses even from that country that depending on Twitter. So for President Buhari to decide to shut down Twitter from Nigeria, to suspend Twitter from Nigeria, I don't know, it's indefinite. I think until whatever they talk or something, then maybe he will lift this ban. But the people who are advising President Buhari, surely, I don't know if they know what they're doing. I don't know if they mean well for the country. I don't know if they're aware what such a move, constitutes, the effect, the impact. It's dire. And I don't know if it is just a poor oversight on their part, but I think the are being quite reactive in a way that is not really what do you call it? It's not productive, I think, because the tweet by Buhari was not the right thing to say. I think it was quoted from a statement he had made during a press conference, so they his Twitter handlers just took that from Aso Rock and placed it on Twitter and tweeted the same thing he had said, on that press conference, right? And so it was seen as instigating a war. It was seen as threatening. Even the person who does not have the background, story on what is happening in Nigeria and the cause for, the calls for secession that has been ongoing and the Biafran, question, would just reading whatever President Buhari had said and had tweeted. That is a person who was threatening, and I think from a head of state, that was really not the wise thing for President Buhari to say at that time. And so Twitter went ahead and deleted that tweet, but they only sort of deleted that tweet and put his account as a punishment on a read-only mode for 12 hours. They did not suspend his account, so that was a warning. 12 hours, and then you decide now to be reactive and just ban, remove Twitter from Nigeria. So it's very interesting. So now you go ahead and you tell the media houses that for now, any media house that is found to be tweeting, that is where we get to our breaking news. That is where we find out about what's happening. And that is where Nigerians get their news, not just in Nigeria, but for the rest of the world. Internet has made, and sites like Twitter has made the world a very small place. You're able to get very quick, important information and breaking news and all kinds of information and everything else that you need, from Twitter. So for the government to think this is the right thing to do, I think it's ridiculous. And now for the National Broadcasting Commission to come in and now is threatening the media houses in Nigeria that anybody who still has a Twitter handle in Twitter, then they will be punished. I think this is going way beyond, and it's very dangerous. It's really treading on very dangerous grounds there, and is tantamount to now they're gagging the freedom of information and over in Nigeria. So this is what part of the commission, the statement they issued earlier today, this is what it said. consequent on the suspension of Twitter operations in Nigeria by the federal government over the persistent use of the platform for activities that are capable of undermining the corporate existence of Nigeria, the National Broadcasting Commission directs all broadcasting stations in Nigeria to suspend the patronage of Twitter immediately. That is just, are they even listening to themselves? That is ridiculous. In this day and age, if you disagree, you just shut down something that affects everybody, including these ministers, because they use the same platform to announce these things, like the Minister of Information, they use the same platform on Twitter, and even the government itself used the same platform on Twitter to announce they're banning Twitter from Nigeria. How ridiculous is that? So really, Twitter does not need Nigeria to exist. Like there are other billions of people across the rest of the world who will continue using Twitter. I mean, they removed Trump from Twitter. I did not see anywhere that showed that Twitter's, membership had dropped. Even his supporters, they never left Twitter. And those who chose to leave Twitter, that's it. I think that's just part of, democracy. That's just how the world goes. And so I think this is uncalled for. This is extreme. This is should be condemned. And I think when with the African Union, the US and also Britain, I think raised their concern about this move after the ban on Friday. And I think I was reading someplace that they've been summoned by the information minister. Is it Lai Mohammed? They have been summoned, but I'm not sure by who. I don't know if they're going to be given a riot act. They've been going to be read to a riot act. I don't know. Maybe they will convince the government of Nigeria to just stop with this stupidity. You can't do that. That is ridiculous. You cannot do that. So now, former governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, has said anyone arrested for using virtual private network because you could circumvent this ban by using the VPN. So now, the former state governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, saying that said anyone arrested for using virtual private network to access Twitter in Nigeria will end up being celebrated. The federal government last week, of course, as I said, they suspended operations of Twitter in Nigeria, citing that it described as the persistent use of the platform for activities that are capable of undermining Nigeria's corporate existence. An order was immediately issued to telcos through the Nigerian communications, as I said there. But however, some Nigerians still had access to Twitter through the use of VPNs. You see, like my president here, President Uhuru Kenyatta, I'm told he does not have a Twitter handle because Kenyans used to go ham on him, as if we find something and we feel we need to say something. We just say it because we have the freedom here. So what President Kenyatta did and State House here in Kenya, I don't know if they closed the Twitter handle. He decided, you know what, maybe I'll be the one to just mind my business the other side and continue building the country and showing leadership. And let me just leave Kenyans on Twitter on the other side. And that was it. He did not go and ban Twitter because that will be ridiculous. So this move by the Nigerian government, I think, is extreme. It is uncalled for and very much unwarranted. And okay, so it's very unnecessary. I think that is it's such an overreaction that does not even make any kind of sense. The issue of the leader of Boko Haram, a militant group, being dead, his name is Abubakar Shekau. Now we're being told that he killed himself. Remember, we were having this conversation here the other day, where I was telling you the United States was not very quick to confirm or to agree with this information, because there had been some numerous reports before that had said Shekau was dead, only for him to resurface much later. And there's an audio that has been obtained by several numerous media houses from the Islamic State of West African Province, ISWAP, that said that they had arrested Shekau, and so they wanted him to join them, Shekau to join them, and Shekau decided, you know what, I'd rather just detonate myself. So in the process, he died, and that is the only source of information, and that's why I think it's very difficult to rely on this audio as evidence that Shekau killed himself. So ISWAP fighters hunted down the warlord, that's what they said, and ordered him to repent and join them. Al-Banawi, that is the leader of ISWAP. But Shekau was reported dead last month and had been reported killed before. Neither Boko Haram nor the Nigerian government confirmed his death. So even the Nigerian government cannot confirm the death of Shekau. So is Shekau really dead? What do you think? What do you think is really happening in Nigeria? Did they arrest him? Did ISWAP arrest him? Can we trust this audio that happens to be the only evidence that suggests that Shekau, is dead? What is going on? And the few times that such information was out there, it just turned out that it was fake news, and Shekau was very much alive and doing very well, continuing killing people and causing mayhem in northern Nigeria. Okay, so who do we believe? Even government of Nigeria is not able to give us a clear statement of what is happening. Chukusomo Onyesori, you're saying with the miserable situation in Nigeria, especially in Biafra land, I keep asking myself, where is the African Union? Will no African nation come to our help? Okay. All right, Chukusom. All right, thank you. Victor Udo. All right, thank you. I think we're having problems with what? My internet or your internet? I'm not sure. You're telling me my voice is not stable. Is it my voice or my network? I'm not sure what you mean, but thank you so much for watching. Nodik Elijah, you're saying good day to you. Thank you so much, Nodik. Alphonsus Okele, you're saying if I believe Nigerian government, then you just believe the world is flat. So you're saying Nigerian government is very hard to believe. Nodik Elijah, you're saying everything about Nigeria is fake. So who are we to believe? Is Shekau really dead? What is happening? Can the government come out clearly and tell us what is happening? Because but even as we speak right now, these rumors that, have not been confirmed, and another terror group is what is telling us they killed another terrorist leader. So, interesting. So there is a countrywide, a 3-month strike in Nigeria by the judiciary workers in Nigeria that has stalled the trial of at least 400 persons suspected of funding Boko Haram and other bandits. All the courts have been shut down since April 6th, 2021, after the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria called a strike over the reluctance of the government's 36 governors to implement judiciary financial autonomy contained in an executive order issued by President Muhammadu Buhari. So even as we speak right now, about at least 957 terror suspects, including bureau de charge operators, gold miners and sellers, business persons and politicians, were arrested, out of which may have been screened and released because they cannot be taken to court. And maybe if you're holding somebody in the police cells, according to, I don't know what your constitution there says in Nigeria, but here we have a minimum time, a maximum time. The police can hold someone in the cell before, they take them to court. So after a certain period, you can't continue keeping a person. They have to be charged or released in a court of law. And so results of the screening revealed that at least 180, operators were careless in their businesses. So they're saying these suspects. But what they're saying is this strike by the judiciary workers in Nigeria is hampering, the trial of the people who are suspected of funding Boko Harams, and a lot of them work in bureau de charge and other in mines and other things. So they're saying, maybe the judicial workers could go back, but maybe you could implement what the judicial workers there are asking for, so they could go back and try these terror suspects, or these people who are suspected to be funding terror activities there in Nigeria. But I don't know. Do you think Shekau is dead for real this time? Is he dead? The government has refused to confirm that. They also don't know. So they're just waiting as we are here. Does the government of Nigeria has any kind of intelligence in its army, in its police force, in the Nigerian intelligence, service in Nigeria? Is it existence? Does it do its work? They should have some concrete information and tell the people what is really happening, but they're also relying from rumors or from the information from the Islamic state of West African province, that is the ISWAP. That is also where the Nigerian government is depending or is just relying for them to relay this information. So whether it's true or not, we don't know if Shekau is dead this time. Remember, he has been announced dead a couple of times before, only for him to resurface and for people to learn that he's still alive. I think that is where I will end my news this afternoon. What other thing did I want to talk about? All right, I think that is that. And of course, about 88 people still in Nigeria. Bad news as usual. Were killed in Nigeria's Kebbi state on Thursday. But what is interesting is the governor or the leadership in that state kept this as a secret, and the details began to emerge on Saturday. So 88 people in Nigeria's Kebbi state were killed on Thursday, aspiring its governor to pledge a bigger deployment. So it's just yesterday that the governor was saying that he will deploy more security to address the issue of insecurity, in that area. So perpetrators are said to have swept through the villages, killing people and sending residents fleeing, and police said giving a death toll of 88. The people were killed on Thursday. The police are giving out the information on Saturday. Why? What is happening? So they came, a spokesperson for Kebbi, Governor Abubakar Bakubu, said on Sunday that attackers had come from neighboring Niger and Zamfara states, rustling cattle and destroying crops. So that sounds like the bandits, is it? Does it? Okay, who come for the animals there? So there you go, another case of insecurity, and of course, still on the same Boko Haram caused a lot of mayhem in Burkina Faso, killing at least 132 people, over the weekend on Friday night. So not very good. Sahel region is really in a dire need of an intervention, I think. I don't know what kind, but something obviously should be done as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye for now.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.